Bright Tuty. Every student matters.
Hello dear students, welcome to another lecture. In this class, we are going to start with the subdivisions of our clauses as per the class 10th Nagaland Board main course skill book. So, we in this video are going to learn about what is a noun clause, how is it used, and we'll also look into the exercises which are given in your chapter related to this topic. So let us begin. Now, as you all can see on your screens, noun clauses are those subordinate clauses in a sentence which functions as a noun. Okay, those subordinate clauses which take the position of a noun in the sentence are known as noun clause. As I have already written, now in order to identify a noun clause in a sentence, always ask the question what. The answer that you get to your question what is going to be your noun clause in that sentence. What is a noun? We have all learned about noun. Noun can be the name of a person, it can be the name of a place, it can be an animal, it can be a thing. Anything which is being talked about in this sentence is basically my noun. Also, the noun can either take a position of a subject in the sentence or it can take the position of an object in the sentence. Okay. So, since noun can be either in the subject or in the object, similarly, our noun clause can also be found either in the subject of the sentence or it can be found in the object of the sentence. The only difference is when we talk about noun, noun is a single word, while noun clause is a group of words that function as a noun. So this is what a noun clause is. As I have already told you, and you can read it on the screen as well, that noun can either be the subject of the verb, it can be the subject complement. It can come before this verb. It can come after the verb. It can be used as a subject. It can be a direct object of the verb, or it can be the object of a preposition as well. Okay. So this is how a noun functions differently in a sentence. For example, in the sentences that we are going to read ahead, noun clauses are highlighted. Let us look at them. The first sentence is, what the English teacher said was very inspiring. So what is the noun? What are we talking about? What the English teacher said. So the noun clause, that is what the English teacher said, is the noun clause. My verb was, because it is used before my verb. Let us look at the other sentence. The wonderful thing about toddlers is that they get along so well. Again, as I told you, always ask the question what. So what is the wonderful thing about toddlers? That they all get along so well. So my noun clause is, and this is used after the verb is, therefore my noun clause is the complement to the verb is. Now, obviously we have to remember that this is a non-finite verb. It is not a finite verb. We have talked about finites and non-finite verbs. There is a separate video that has been recorded for the same purpose, as you have a chapter in your grammar by the name finite and the non-finite verbs. So is being a non-finite verb, since my noun clause is complementing a non-finite verb, therefore it is called a noun phrase. Okay, let us look at the other sentence. I must decide which course is the best to take. So I must decide what? What is the answer that I'm taking? Which course is the best to take? Now this is the answer that I am getting. What is my verb in the sentence? Decide. So noun clause over here is directly, the object is directly related to my verb decide. Next sentence. Lonely old people like speaking to whoever will listen. So the lonely old people like speaking to what? Whoever will listen. Here, my noun clause is related to whom is the position to. So as we have discussed, my noun clause can be the object of the verb. It can be the object of a preposition. It can be the object of a non-finite verb, or it can be the subject of the verb as well. Now, always note that a noun clause is often introduced by one of the conjunctions that, if, or whether. This is something that will always help you to identify a noun clause in the sentence as well as complete the sentence using an appropriate noun clause as well. A noun clause will always begin with either that, if, or whether. In fact, a noun clause is actually introduced. This is something that is, very much so in case of reported speech sentences, wherein a noun clause is introduced with the help of a conjunction. Okay. Now, a noun clause can also be introduced by a relative pronoun, as is the case with the adjective clauses. But this time the clause cannot have an antecedent. So we can even have a noun clause that is used to, it is introduced or it is started with a relative pronoun. Relative pronouns such as who, whom, where, which, these are all the relative pronouns. The only difference is that a relative pronoun, if we are talking about a noun clause, my noun clause, if it is beginning with a relative pronoun, it should not have an antecedent. Now, what is an antecedent? About this, we are going to learn in detail in the next video, where I talk about specifically the adjective clauses. Okay, right now what is important for you to know about noun clauses are, first, noun clause has the same function as that of a noun, and in order to identify a noun in the sentence, we ask the question what. Noun can take the position of a subject, it can take the position of an object, it can take the position of complement of the preposition or complement of the non-finite verb as well. We have gone through examples classifying each of them. Next, we learned that a noun clause will always begin with a conjunction that, if, or whether. So either of these three conjunctions will be used in a noun clause. Also, at the end, we learned that a noun clause can also begin with a relative pronoun, but it should not have an antecedent. Okay. Now, let us look at the exercises which will make this noun clause clearer to you. The first question has been done for you on the screen, as you can see. You had to complete each of the sentences using a noun clause. As I told you, a noun clause can either begin with a relative pronoun or it can begin with a conjunction. What three conjunctions? That, if, and whether. Alright, so the first question. Harish asked me. Now, as you can see, what he had to do. So either you can do this if you want to begin your noun clause with these three conjunctions. You can even reframe your sentence. Harish asked me if he should go to the school. So you have the alternatives on your screen. First beginning with a relative pronoun and the second beginning with a conjunction. The second sentence, they could not tell me what was the matter with her. This is again beginning with a relative pronoun. If I wish to begin it with a conjunction, then they could not tell me whether I had scored well or not. So the first one began with a relative pronoun and the second began with a conjunction. The third sentence, he does not know that he is loved by all, or he does not know if he is loved by all. Okay. The fourth sentence, look at it. Dash is not important. What makes us joyful, what makes us happy is not important. Or if I reframe it using, as I said, a conjunction, whether we will get a good job is not important. So there are multiple ways in which you can fill and complete your sentences. The only thing that you need to remember is that either your noun clause begins with a relative pronoun or it begins with the conjunctions if, that and whether. Okay, I'll do one more for you and then obviously it will be clearer and then the rest of them you can do on your own. We are not responsible for what they all have done. So we are not responsible as it is given for what they all have done. We all are not responsible for or what course their act will take, and so on and so forth. So there are multiple ways in which you can complete your sentences. Now let us look at the next question. It says, rewrite the sentences changing the underlined noun phrases into noun clauses. So you're given with the noun phrases and you have to change them to noun clauses. Okay. No one can guess the time of her arrival or what time she will arrive. Yes, it becomes a noun clause. Let us look at the second sentence. The weatherman predicted a change in the weather. The weatherman predicted that the weather will change. Next, I have heard of his success. I have heard that he is successful. We don't know the reason for his failure. We don't know why he failed. Right? So this ways you can see there are so many sentences and there's a way that we can change them. I'll do the last one for you so that it is clear. The jury believed the man innocent. The jury believed that the man was innocent. Okay, so this ways you are supposed to solve the rest of the sentences as well. Okay, let us look at the next question now. All right, so we are done with it. So I'm going to pause here. I hope the noun clause and its uses as well as the exercise that we practiced is clearer and very simple to you. So you would not have any problems related to the same. I'm going to pause here, and the next part, that is the adjective clause, I'm going to cover up in my next video.